Assalamualaikum, konnichiwa. Welcome to my podcast. My name is Zahra and I am a Japanese reverted Muslim. In this podcast, I talk about my journey to Islam and life with Islam. It's the 5th episode. Before starting today's topic, I'd like to thank your support since I started my podcast. Your kind comments, likes, subscription, and each view mean a lot to me. Especially since I haven't told any friends or family about this podcast yet, except my husband, and I didn't expect any reaction, to be honest. So I appreciate you all. Okay, in the previous episode, I talked about how I proceeded my learning for Islam through the translated Quran and Muslim friends. Today, I'm going to talk about one of the difficulties I faced during my journey to Islam. That is, the acceptance from my family, which I believe many other reverts also go through. Also, my trip to Malaysia. Let's get started. I did a lot of reading, talking, and listening to have a better understanding of Islam. And I've come to the point where I was seeing the possibility that I'd become a Muslim. I felt like changing a few of my habits, such as food, drink, and clothing. For instance, I stopped drinking alcohol. I tried to avoid non-halal meat as much as possible and started preferring long sleeves over short sleeves. But it was not easy because I was living with my family. So initially, for a little while, I was doing these things secretly at home and didn't tell anyone. But one day, my mom asked me out to go to a German beer festival with her. It was a popular seasonal outdoor event and I knew my mom was looking forward to it. So I said, sure. We got there, my mom got a glass of beer. I got ginger ale. My mom looked at me like, seriously? We're at the beer festival. Anyway, we searched for something to eat. But you know, they're famous for sausages. Uh-oh. I tried to avoid that pork and found some seafood dish, so I got it instead. We finally sat at the table, and my mom was like, what's going on? She's my mom. She can sense I was acting weird. As a matter of fact, we used to drink together and she knew I love meat. I thought, this is it. It's time to tell her. So I said, I'm thinking I might convert to Islam. I don't remember our conversation exactly, but I remember my mom was shocked for sure and became kind of awkwardly quiet in the loud beer festival tent. From that day for about a week, I had an uncomfortable time at home. We were pretending to be cool, but it was impossible to avoid that topic forever. One day, I thought I cannot make any more lame excuses not to eat meat, so I told my mom I cannot eat non-halal meat. Well, technically I could, because I was not a Muslim yet, but I felt like doing so as my belief was growing. So I told my mom, and she got mad. She was sad because it meant I was not able to eat her homemade food. So my mom started like, why do you have to convert anyway? Then I tried to explain like, Mom, it's a simple religion about one God, and it is not like what the media shows, and the terrorism is not what Islam teaches. You don't have to worry, there are lots of good teachings, and Moses, Noah, Jesus, those whom you know are prophets in Islam, and Muhammad is the last one. I believe I would be happier if I live in the way Islam teaches, etc., etc. But I am sure she was not really listening. Her emotion just blocked her ears, I think. She just said, no, I don't like it. I asked her which part she didn't like about, and she didn't answer. She continued, I don't want you to be Muslim. Why do you have to be a follower of the religion which has negative impression? Then people might see you as a weird person. Why do you have to make yourself suffer from so many rules? What if you have your children? Do they become Muslim without their own will? How pity it is. You say you would be happier, but don't you care about me? It was like an explosion. She was crying. I tried my best to answer her questions, but whatever I said didn't change her attitude. I was trying to be patient at first. But later, when our conversation didn't go well, honestly, I gave up on talking and persuading her to understand and support my decision. I came to think, whatever she said was a result of her being worried and scared as a mother. She didn't want me to have a hard time, and she was scared of me going far away from her and be a different person. So, instead of talking to her, I decided to show her. show her how happy I am, how much I care about her, and that I stay the same person she knows, and that I want to be her better daughter and not going away from her. All by my actions and showing how I am. So I set the long game. Since then, I didn't bring the topic of converting. Maybe I just brought some halal chicken. I hang out with her almost every weekend and spend time together more and talked a lot. I will share what happened later, after all my effort, in the different episode, inshallah. As I was getting more attracted to Islam, I wanted to make sure this was going to be the right decision because it would be a huge commitment. I was getting the basic teachings of Islam, but I became curious to actually see people living as Muslim. So I planned to go for traveling to any Islamic country. I picked Malaysia for my destination, and the purpose was to see how their life is because the majority is Muslim there. I set 1 week visit. I booked a hostel for a few nights, but the rest of the nights I stayed in local people's apartments whom I contacted online. I was young and fearless, obviously. I used a website called Couchsurfing. It was kind of popular at that time. Maybe some listeners might know or used in the past too. Luckily, my hosts were great Muslim ladies, and I am still in touch with them, alhamdulillah. Anyway, in conclusion, I fell in love, not with any guy, but with Malaysia. It was a beautiful place with amazing people, delicious food, and impressive diversity from Malay people, Chinese Malaysian, Indian Malaysian, to international people. They all lived in harmony. And I loved the azan coming from all the directions when it was the time for prayers. I visited multiple masjids and saw people praying for the first time. Their movement was synchronizing so beautifully and made me smile. In one of the masjids I visited, one guide talked to me and he came to know I was considering reverting to Islam. I told him about my concern with my family, especially with my mom, and he shared the story that even a prophet like Noah had problems with his own family, that some of them didn't believe him and left him. That made me cry, and my Malaysian friend who let me stay at her place was also crying next to me. 1 week passed so fast. Through this small trip, I felt something positive, so I was satisfied as a whole. Okay, I will wrap up this episode around here today. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will inshallah post some related pictures on Instagram and Twitter as always. Next time, inshallah, I will talk about the biggest obstacle in my journey to Islam, which was my work in Japan. Have a great day, guys. Arigatou gozaimashita. Okay, I have to go. Assalamualaikum.